Welcome back. Returning to the studio this week, we're delighted to have Mr. Bob Mosier, who is our Chief Communications Officer for our county schools. Bob, welcome back to the show.
Thanks very much.
And one of the most exciting things we had this week, of course, was our snow day on Tuesday, which was a little lacking in the snow for me, but obviously you had to make some very strong decisions for the schools.
Yeah, difficult storm for us because it changed. You know, the weekend before we were looking at 12 to 18 inches,
Right.
and then as it got closer, it seemed like it kept getting less and less. And we ended up closing schools on Tuesday. We announced that on Monday, and then we had to deal with the after effects for Wednesday.
Right, and you know, it's constantly changing reports, but tell me, what time do you get up on a snow day when everyone else gets to sleep in? What time are
It's
you up?
about 3:30 in the morning. Yeah,
3:30.
but
I'm not sure I've ever seen 3:30.
I gotta tell you, when you're waiting for that phone to ring, you don't really sleep anyway, right? I mean,
Right.
you're just sort of tossing and turning. So that's just the way it is. It
That
goes
makes
with the
sense.
game.
Light sleeping on that night. And when you have to make this phone call, obviously people love getting that phone call from you, hearing that phones or that schools are closed. But what's your favorite gimmick? What's your favorite way to deliver the news?
Well, the ones that we make early in the morning are pre-recorded, obviously, right?
Right.
We're not recording messages at 3:30 in the morning to try to send out, but we try to keep them pretty straightforward. I mean, the campaigns on Facebook and Twitter that have come as a result of it have been kind
Right.
of funny.
Yeah.
You know, the song my daughter and I did last year was
Adele.
either funny
That
or
was
tragic,
big.
depending on which side of the which
was
side
on
of the
CNN,
thing.
I love
It
it.
did, it was on
Made
CNN.
CNN.
I promised her I wouldn't do it that again. So, but it's been
We have
good.
hashtag Please Bob.
Right?
do.
And we had the portrait this week of you with your T-shirt on.
Yes,
That
the
said,
That was-
Fake and the Flakes one.
That
or-
was. I mean, it's sort of taken on a life of its own. I never expected any of that, right? I mean,
Yes.
I mean, it's fun. It's what we've tried to do with it. Really, is drive people to social media with it and increase your engagement. You know, and so last weekend we did some fun things with memes and that kind of stuff. And so if you get more people on your page, then when you have actual news to give them, then you got a bigger
This
audience.
is the times we live in.
That's
We're
right.
now meme oriented.
Right.
We like songs rewritten. I won't forget the Adele one anytime soon.
That
So
was
that's
good.
probably my
Not-
favorite gimmick.
Not really sure.
I remember when
Unforgettable
I saw that,
is a
when I saw that the
quantitative
first
term.
time, I go, he's nuts.
Yeah.
He
And-
is going to be in
But
trouble.
brilliant.
Yeah,
All the way to
but it
CNN.
worked. It worked out.
Right.
I always tell people there's a very fine line between funny and embarrassing. And when we're trying to write, we're always trying to write stuff that's kind of humorous. And
Yeah.
sometimes I send stuff up and they're like, no.
We'll have to ask them because of the Adele song. Were any other chief communication officers, were they like, Bob?
Well,
Or
what's
did
wrong
they
with
try?
I think they
and-
were glad it wasn't me, right?
Oh, right.
I mean, I tell you, so when I first talked to my daughter about it, she was really game for it. And so then we recorded it. It was a really primitive thing, right? It's a phone and a laptop. And so after we sent it out, there was this 10 minutes of panic or so until her friends liked it. And then it was okay, right?
Right.
But I just thought it'd be something funny for our parents. I never thought, CNN's going to pick it up on their webpage or whatever.
Right.
So
That's-
that's
I
It's
think
awesome.
there's another really clever strategy there, and it is that when it snows, all the complainers and all the people who are angry about everything come out of the woodwork. And
Oh, yeah.
sometimes people are at such a fever pitch that I think it's nice that you guys have made it a fun thing.
Yeah.
And something for people to enjoy and laugh about. I mean, come on, guys. You have school or you don't. You figure it out and everything. And I think it's really changed the tone of how people act.
I agree with that.
Well,
when
it's
you're
a
closing schools.
gradual thing with social media, right? I mean, a couple of years ago, we had a few snow days in a row, and we put up a post about how ironic it was that kids wanted to go back to school and parents wanted the kids home. And I mean, parents, really complained about that. And so as it's gone in the last
Right.
year or two, I mean, that's changed, as you say.
It has.
Yeah.
It has shaped the conversation differently.
Let's talk about the nuts and bolts of it a little bit, just for people who don't understand. Who makes the decision, and sort of how does that work in the early morning hours?
So ultimately, it's a superintendent's decision. But we have folks from our facilities and transportation divisions out on the road as early as 3 o'clock in the morning, literally with temperature guns, taking pavement temperatures and that kind of stuff, looking at lots. We have custodial crews in at schools working with that kind of stuff. All that information is fed back to facilities and back to our chief operating officer. He's in touch with other school systems around the state, in touch with County Department of Public Works. What are you guys seeing? Do we have any tough spots? What are the issues going to be? And then ultimately a recommendation is given to the superintendent. The difficulty for us is we're such a geographically diverse county, right? I mean, what happens in Pasadena is what is different than what happens in Lothian. And
Right.
so, you get those complaints all the time about how come we can't just close schools in Pasadena and leave Lothian schools open, or West County, or North County, or South County, or Central County. And so we have to make one decision for the entire county, and that's difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
So catch us up on, we think we won't have any more snow.
This makes me sad, Dave.
We think we won't have any more snow, but it's not April yet, and I know for a fact that we will have our first nice day. You heard it here first. Don't just ignore my snow predictions for November.
Our first nice day. Didn't we have 75 degrees
Well, our
Saturday?
first where it's nice and then we're done. Like it's not going to be cold.
No more back and forth.
April 4th.
April 4th.
April 4th
My
is
mother's birthday.
May the 4th be with you. So how many snow days have we used this school year, and how does that affect the calendar going forward?
Well,
obviously, didn't use them all.
We would certainly entertain and support an executive order that after we changed to daylight savings time, we had no more snow. That would be great. So if you guys could work that out at the county level, we'd be very supportive of that. But we build in 5 snow days a year. So we've used 1 now. So we subtract any unused days off the end of the year. So if we get no more snow, June 8th is the last day for students.
See, kids,
Wow.
you can go swimming earlier.
So I bet they like that.
Well, they do like it this year, particularly because due to the governor's executive order that we can't start school next year till after Labor Day. That's 2 weeks later at the end of the summer, and a potential almost a week at the beginning of the summer. So you're looking at 3 additional weeks in the summer.
Total score.
Good time to be a kid.
Total score. How about that?
Jeez.
I didn't know you get the days back. If you
I didn't
don't use
either.
them.
I didn't either.
That's
So
pretty
you
great.
have to go 180 days, and so we build in 5 extra days, and then we subtract out what we don't use.
And then Snowmageddon, I think you had to dip into spring break, right? Didn't you? Have
Right,
to
we
cut
did,
days
and
out of
we
spring break?
requested a waiver from the state, right?
That was rough.
Yeah, that was very rough. That was a bad year.
Well, like Dave said, we're not going to have any more snow days. I feel it deep down.
And now that we've said it 3 times, it's going to snow tomorrow.
It's going to happen. But with that being said, moving forward to next year, when I know it's going to snow a bunch, it's better.
You know that?
It's better. I love snow. What will be the best resource for folks who want to be the first to find out when school is going to be closed or whether you decide to keep open?
So we send that call to parents starting at 5:30. We have an automated call system, and so 5:30. But we put the information on our website, on our Facebook page, on our Twitter page as soon as we get it. So that's generally around 5 minutes to 5 o'clock.
Okay.
So those are the places for people to go if they want it instantaneously.
And that's all at AACPS.
The website is aacps.org. Facebook is Anne Arundel County Public Schools, and Twitter is at AA County Schools.
AA County Schools.
I'd go
Very
with
good.
Twitter. I'd go with Twitter on this one.
Yeah, that's good. I like the Facebook personally. But
And we have 125 schools with all have Twitter pages, and it's all on there too.
And as far as the phone call goes, are parents automatically enrolled in that if their students are at school, or do you have to sign
Now,
up
that's
for?
all pulled in through our student data system, so parents can identify 1 or 2 numbers, up to 6 email addresses, and some text numbers.
And where can we send in future song requests for snow announcements?
Well, we're counting on you guys to
Oh,
do it. So
you don't want
maybe
that.
the 2 of you
Oh,
could
we'll
get
be
together and we'll
happy
have
to,
something ready for
yeah.
next year.
You don't want that.
No, we'll see.
Kristen.
You'd be surprised at the requests we got this year, so
Oh
we'll see what
boy.
happens.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on the show, giving us the rundown of how snow days work, and we won't have any more this year, but for next year, now we all know. And if you have any other announcements you'd like to share with us, please come back on the show. We always enjoy having you.
Always good to be here.
Great to see you.
And quick shout out before we go. Bob used to be my boss.
Well,
when I was a newspaper
We've got
reporter,
time.
Bob was my editor at the Gazette. So I'm
any
just saying.
stories
Long time
that
ago.
you'd like to share about a young, enthusiastic, ambitious Dave?
Dave and I have known each other for a long time. Let's leave it at that.
I don't get the snow calls, but I do get calls from Bob.
We'll leave it
we
at
talk
that.
often.
And with that, we'll take a quick break right now. We'll be right back with more Week in Review right after this.